Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of In Other Words with Danielle and Zara.
This is a podcast where we talk about a wide variety of different subjects, from health to travel tips. So, in other words, we talk about all the things.
All the things.
Very
How
good.
exciting.
Very
So
exciting.
I have a local brand for us today.
Please do tell.
So it's very local to me because they are actually based in Hilton. But I mean, obviously they ship all over the country.
Yeah.
But they're called Bon Oils. So B-O-N oils.
Nice.
And I specifically have been using their liquid gold skin serum on my face. And I don't know, I feel like I've just noticed such a difference in just like the quality, I think, of my skin, specifically on my face. And Danielle will tell you, I've sent her pictures.
Yeah.
So obviously I still use my like really good products, like my Cetaphil and stuff that I always have. But my skin just feels so much less dry, but also not like grossly oily.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've just really been enjoying it, and it's super, super affordable. So you can check them out
Nice.
on the internet. They're bonoils.co.za or Bon Natural Oils on
Instagram.
the gram.
Very
The
good.
gram. Yes.
Very nice. That was like a real
Yes.
influencer thing for you to say, by the way. Like, this is what I've been using. You can ask my friends.
The fact that it's an oil like is also bad. It makes it's a very essential oil.
Yes, multi-level marketing scheme.
Oof. I promise this is not that, guys.
Dude, I
Don't
actually
panic.
saw when we went to this cafe the other day, my mom and I, and yeah, just for, I don't know, what people do at a cafe, you know. Anyway, so we get there, and this place is full with like a whole bunch of elderly people, and we're like, oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
But they had a whole bunch of products on the table. And so I thought, like, as well,
no.
oh, that's like interesting. And I said, like, my mom was wondering, like, maybe they're doing some sort of activity or something, or like someone's come to
Yes.
tell them something. And I was like, I bet it's a multi-level marketing scheme.
No.
And then eventually they brought out this this box, and I was like,
Shame.
yeah, it's the essential oils. They're there to
Oh,
target
no
the elderly
shame.
folk. It's terrible.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oy, oy,
I
oy.
witnessed them in action.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Want to change your life?
Yeah.
So, guys, this is good for your skin, but I don't know if it's going to change your life.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Okay. So, Danielle,
Yes.
the topic today I think I'm excited for because I know it's something that you've been wanting to talk about for so long. In fact, I think that you touched on it in our very first In Other Words episode.
Sure. That's good memory of very good memory.
A good memory of me. Yes.
Yeah, good memory of you.
So I'm very, very excited. It's an interesting topic.
Yes. So we don't keep all the good folks listening in suspense. Today
Yeah, 'cause
we
it's
are
not like they read the title of the episode or anything.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're gonna just clickbait everything. Who knows?
I think it might be how we need to go.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, today we are discussing children in the media, and I think we're mostly going to be talking about like child influencers and family channels and that kind of stuff.
Yes. So not like children and their screen time and how to like
Exactly.
keep your kids off their phone. It's basically like
These are the kids that
actual
you're
children
watching.
being featured. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Why are you watching children, first of all?
That is the question of the day, isn't it? But before we get into that, Zara, how are you doing?
I am well. I'm doing well. I was sick a couple of weeks ago and I feel like I'm finally back to my normal self.
Good.
And I've been moving with Nicole and it's been a real fun time.
Real fun time indeed. I actually did a workout now, just before we started.
Look at
So
you.
productive of me here. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So shout out to Nicole though. She
Yes.
has changed my life.
Move with Nicole. If you guys are in a rut with your workouts, you don't like going to the gym or you don't want to run or whatever, start with Pilates. I'm serious. Like, just do
Yo.
it.
I love it.
It's so good. It's such a different way of moving, and you actually feel so much stronger after a while of doing it. It's amazing. But yeah,
You sound like such an influencer.
I'm getting into character for this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't going to be super structured.
No.
But Danielle, how are you?
Also, while I have just been doing my normal things, I've also been watching Gossip Girl, like I told you. But I've honestly, it's so fun to watch because it's
So stupid.
yeah. Honestly, I really enjoyed the first season. Like, the first season for me was just not because it was like excellent TV or because of the
Yeah, it's
storyline,
not.
just because it was, I don't know, I was just really
It's
gripped by
easy
it.
watching.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like the drama of it all. I watched it, I think like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago. So like
Sure.
I can barely remember.
Yeah. Just with
But-
the end of season 1 when you meet Georgina. I don't know if you remember Georgina. I don't know how you
Yeah, I
can't.
do.
But anyway, I was like, I was like just watching, like, what the heck is this
She
chick
played a
gonna do?
terrible character
Oh,
on
she's-
Criminal Minds as well.
Oh, really? Oh,
So
shame.
like I
Just
have
has
beef
that
with the
face, I
actress, which
suppose.
isn't fair.
Yeah. I was trying to remember where I'd seen her before, and I realized it was from that ice skating movie. It's like the Ice Princess or something. She's in
Wow.
that, I think.
Fun.
Yeah. Anyway, that's been my life, basically. And, you know, the usual work
Fantastic.
and thesis stuff, but that's my business.
Joy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is going to be very conversational. Especially because this isn't something Danielle and I've actually chatted about in depth. Also, like, I think because we literally just got on this call and we're going to start talking. So it's going to be very conversational. And yeah, we hope that you think about things you haven't maybe thought about before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also, like, I want to start by saying, I think, like, I'm not saying to anyone, like, oh, you should never consume any content with children in it, or, like, if an influencer you follow posts their children, then you mustn't follow them. Like, that's not at all what, like,
Yeah.
at least my message will be, because
Yeah, mine
I
neither.
mean, I follow a bunch of people who feature their kids. I've just become more
too.
aware these days of influencers who
Yeah.
center the content around their children, you know?
Yeah,
Which I think there's quite
Yeah.
a big difference. But
there is.
yeah, I think maybe to start, we can chat just about like kids in the entertainment industry in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously child actors and
Pre-YouTube.
yeah, exactly. So like child actors and child musicians and all of them, they've been around for a very, very long time. People have
Ever.
always sort of people have literally always wanted to watch kids do these things. I mean, even just think of Mozart, for example. I mean, he was a child prodigy and he would go perform
is
for
true.
everyone.
On his harpsichord.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, when I was that's a good movie though, to be honest. It's so funny. Anyway, so when the difference between like child actors and maybe child influencers is predominantly laws protecting them. So
Yeah.
most countries, and I think probably most states in the US, or at least a lot of states in the US at least, have laws protecting kids in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
just specifically with that they need to be able to take a percentage of their earnings, and these laws also govern the times that they're allowed to work. Like they can't just work all day, every single day,
Yeah.
you know? And that's
Yeah.
why, I mean, people often complain, for example, that, oh, it's so annoying that they always get older people to play like teen or kid actors. But that's the easiest way to do it, so you don't have to
Deal with the legislation, but also like
100%.
I don't know, like I feel like being a child star is in and of itself, like even though it's a career choice, I feel like you have to grow up so fast
Exactly.
because of the nature of the industry, which is why I think a lot of like quote unquote child stars like kind of fall off the wagon.
Exactly. Like, even if there's financial protections and things like that, like, there's
Yeah.
so many kid stars come out with like severe psychological problems and addiction issues.
Yeah.
Like it's
Because you're essentially doing an adult job and
Exactly.
you're always around adults. Like I think I think documentaries or podcasts and stuff that I've listened to, like when a child becomes like a star, they mostly homeschool because
Exactly.
they now have a career. And so like when all you're doing is spending time with other adults and like actually doing a job, I feel like there's just so much that you miss out on, and you have access to so many things that you actually shouldn't have access to yet.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely quite scary. Forgot what I was gonna say, but yes, carry on talking, please, Zara.
I will. Another thing just on the child stars, because I was just thinking about it, and
Yeah.
like I think a lot of my opinion has been formed around like things that so my generation of child stars is like your Demi Lovato, your Miley Cyrus, and like you kind of often Demi Lovato has like 4 documentaries out, so you kind
my
of hear a
gosh,
little bit about
yeah.
that. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other story. But I think I've thought a lot more about this since Jeanette, how do you say her name?
McCurdy?
McCurdy, yes. She was on iCarly on Nickelodeon. I think she's probably like in her late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s or 30s. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, early 30s. And she wrote a book called I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Yes.
And I haven't read the book because it's flippin' expensive.
So expensive.
In this country. But she chatted about how like this is something that she was kind of forced into because it became like first of all, her mom's living like through her child. But then it's like there's so much pressure to pay the bills. And I think that's what's so dangerous. And we're going to see it now as we cross over into like children on social media and stuff, is like the minute the child is making money and the pressure falls on them to pay the bills, like that is as unhealthy as it gets,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
Yeah. I think,
and
it's definitely like, I think a lot of parents sort of pressurize their kids into doing that. I mean, if you think about the number of toddlers, like kids who've been famous since they were a toddler, you know, and they've been appearing in movies and series and stuff since then. Like, that can only be the parents wanting to make a bit of cash, you know? And they can make cash because people want to watch kids.
Yeah. It's just so difficult. Like, you can't. How do you break out of that? And it's also like I feel like there must be so much pressure if you're seen in a certain way as a child. Like you're always going to be seen that way.
Yeah.
Which is why like if some random chick got on a wrecking ball and was naked, people would be like, oh well,
whatever.
But because it was Miley Cyrus who was Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
Like just the amount of pressure to be a certain way must be terrifying. And I think the scary thing is, although there's legislation, it's so actually loosely regulated still, even to this day. I mean, we look at like Britney Spears. Like how the heck did that happen?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just the industry is scary.
Yeah. And I think it's like inherently exploitative for a kid, at least. I mean, you're really just giving a lot of your time pretending to be someone else. I think it can be very, very difficult to grow up from that.
Yeah. But I think we can chat a little bit about that law, because you said that there are laws protecting child stars. And I think the famous one is Coogan's Law.
Yeah,
which is about Jackie Coogan, who was the little kid that played opposite Charlie Chaplin years ago in like, I think the movie was called The Kids or something.
Yeah,
it The Kid?
Yeah.
And yeah, his parents pocketed all of his money, and when he turned 18 there was like not much left for him.
Just terrifying.
Yes, he actually was Uncle Fester in the Addams Family.
Really?
Fun fact.
I actually didn't know that. How
Yes,
fun.
years later. But it was basically like, I mean, he had all his money kind of taken from him, and so in response to that, basically, I think the law in the US now
In
says that.
California, it's
Is
like
it
specific
is
to California, Coogan's law.
oh hectic.
Yeah.
Is that you have to put like a 15% of earnings into a trust for the child based on what they've earned.
Yeah.
Which it's great that there's some legislation, but even for me, that's shady. So
Yeah, it's like, how do you
yeah,
actually monitor that? But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
because like I said, there's actually no, or at least from the stuff I researched, like the US, for example, doesn't have a national law pertaining to child actors.
yeah.
But it's state based. But what's quite interesting is that when laws started to be enacted in the US, and like the child labor law, I can't remember what it's actually called, but when that started to become enacted, because kids were still working in factories and in mines and everything, you know, and like
Yeah.
oppressive work. At that time, they didn't see acting as like oppressive work. So that was
We
one of the
still
reasons
don't,
why it didn't
which
like,
is
yeah, but that's one of the
yeah.
reasons why it never sort of applied to acting. And then also because around that time, Shirley Temple was like a big star.
Yes,
So if they
yes.
had to, sorry, Peggy is at the door. Anyway, if they had to extend that law to acting, then Shirley Temple wouldn't have been able to act, basically. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
It is. It's a very difficult thing to govern.
Yeah. Anyway, Peggy just broke into my into my room, but
Fantastic. She wants
yeah,
to be part of the fun. She
she
wants to be
does.
a dog influencer.
She is Hugo and .peggy on Instagram.
Can you believe it? Oh, Janie.
Oh, Jamie.
Okay, so should we move on to kids on the internet?
Yes. Yeah. This is quite
So
a big
it's
topic.
it is, and I think what's interesting is like if you think about it, just starting off with like the appearance of a child on a social network, like it like low-key starts in the uterus
It
because like
does. Yes.
people when they announce their pregnancy, they'll post a picture of their sonogram.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing at all,
No.
but it's like if we have to trace at what age is a child shown on social media, it is like from pre-birth already, which is such a
100%.
wild thought.
But I've seen influencers, for example, who get pregnant. And then they will post a picture of the sonogram or something, and then often they'll like highlight like if it's a boy, like, oh look, that's where like you can see he's a boy over there. I'm like, interesting. At what stage does that become illegal?
That is funny. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like here's a bio lesson for you.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like at what point, as you said, is it a violation of a child's privacy? Is it like after they're born? And I think that's what's difficult about this whole topic.
Yeah. Like what stage does the
Is
child gain agency, and at what stage can they consent to
exactly.
appearing on their parents' social medias? And
Yeah.
do you want to know some interesting statistics?
I would love to know some interesting statistics.
So I was reading an article, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was very interesting. But
Ooh.
it told me that a 2010 study revealed that more than 90% of 2-year-olds in the US have an online presence. And obviously that's not necessarily saying that they have their own accounts, but that they appear online. And so you can only imagine now how much more it must be if that's what it was in 2010.
No, so I looked at stats from 3 years ago, and it said that by age 5, for kids whose parents are on social media, the average 5-year-old has up to 1,500 pictures online.
What the flip? Who posts that
I don't know
much?
how. That's what I'm saying. I have like, yeah. Anyways, so
And another scary stat for you is that videos featuring a child under 13 years old receive 3 times the views than those without kids. Like,
what do you think the
scary.
motive behind that is? Why do you think that that is the case?
I think the reason why people like to watch kids on YouTube, or at least family channels, is, okay, first of all, kids are cute to watch. Like, I will never deny that. especially.
I think you're cute,
Thank
and you're not a
you.
kid.
I think you're cute too. But yeah, I mean, people like to watch cute children, especially when they're learning new things, they're learning to talk, or like they're a newborn baby, or they're so cute. And also, I mean, I do think we can't ignore the sort of darker and more malicious element there. Like, there are creeps who watch family channels.
Yeah.
They're creeps everywhere, basically. And the minute you put a child there, like, people are going to watch it, you know? And I also think, like, if you're a parent with kids, putting it on a family channel or like a child influencer, whatever, it's sort of child safe content, if you know what I mean. So,
Yes.
like, I think a lot of kids watch it as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's the kind of content where wherever you open YouTube, you can access that video. Whereas like certain other videos, like our podcast, we don't say that it's
Made for kids.
Yes, which
Yeah.
means that if you went onto kids' YouTube, a child wouldn't be able to find our podcast if
Yeah.
they search for it,
Thank goodness.
which is for the best.
Yes. But yeah, what do you think? Why do you think this content is so popular?
Flip, I was gonna say that, and I don't know, the thing with the internet is because it's the most accessible, because it's accessible to everyone. The more it's watched and the more it's watched, the more of a demand there is.
Yeah.
You know, so
So never
I
ending
don't.
cycle.
Yeah, yeah. But it is a strange thought.
Yeah.
Especially for me, because none of my content that I consume is like, I don't follow a single channel on YouTube that like
Me neither.
involves a child as a main character.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I follow a
Like-
bunch of influencers who have since had children, and then they'll sometimes
Yeah.
feature them. Like, I know
Yes,
some
same.
people have taken like more of a hard stance, like they're not going to show their kids' faces at all, or they're not going to show their
Yeah.
kids at all. But
Yeah,
like,
so
ultimately,
I
that is
know
up
of like
to-
Matt and Abby
Yeah.
and Jess and Gabriel Conti
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you basically have to like weigh the pros and cons of showing your kid, I suppose. And like, my issue is not with people who sometimes will show their kids on YouTube or on Instagram. Like, if they've made that choice, then they've made that choice, as long as they know the risks of showing your kid as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's more people who profit off of showing their children on social
Yes.
media.
Yeah. But I think before we even get into that, what do you think, to what degree is it appropriate for a parent to share things about their children when, you know, children don't really have the ability to consent or not?
Yeah. So
I think
like, are we
the term
talking?
is sharenting.
Yes.
So like, I'm not talking about, before we even move on to bloggers and money, just like the average parent.
Yeah.
Like, to what degree do you think that they have the right to be posting, you know, things about their kids?
Yeah, I mean, that is difficult. I mean, I don't have kids, so I guess
Me
we'll
too.
see.
I think that's what was so difficult as I was thinking about it, and as I was like just toying with this topic in my mind, I was like, I actually don't know what I would do.
I think there are some things that you like definitely should not show on the internet. Like, I am, like, as I've gotten older, especially, like, I don't think anyone should ever show their kid nude. Like, even a baby, like, you should not share a naked baby on the internet. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not because they are like, not because of any like thing. I'm not saying like, oh, a child's body is sexual or whatever, just because there are creeps who do sexualize children's bodies.
Yeah.
And like, you should not put your kid in that situation. Then anything like very personal about a child, you know, like, I don't think you should share anything about potty training. You shouldn't share anything like about bad things that they've done, like just very personal things in your child's life. Like, if you think even just about photos, for example, that your parents have from when you're young, like, you know, the typical thing like in movies where they show the boyfriend or the girlfriend coming over, and then the parents bring out the baby album. Like, if you
I'm
would
thinking
feel
of All Too Well, to be honest,
yes,
when you say that.
if you feel uncomfortable with like one other person seeing like this baby photo or this photo of you and your child, maybe for whatever
Yeah.
reason, like if you could put yourself in the position of your child and think like, would I want this to be shared? If I would this,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you just have to think about how you would feel when you got older, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but what do you think?
And I think, like, no, I agree with everything you're saying. And I think also, as a child becomes older, it's important to be sensitive to them. So, like, you get teenagers who are just like, Mom, please don't take a photo of me.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, it's
You know,
okay. Like,
it
they'll
is
grow out of it
okay.
eventually, to be honest. Like,
Yes, and also, like, you can have photos. You can have as many photos as you want. You don't actually have to post them.
that's the big thing. Like, you don't have to post.
Yeah, and some kids like the camera and some kids don't. And like, I think even though they don't necessarily have the agency to make decisions about what their parents post, you can perceive or pick up how a child feels in front of the camera and be
Yeah.
sensitive to that as a parent.
Yeah.
But I think like what's dangerous about now the fact that we're seeing so many kids on the internet is that like other kids have become like obsessed with fame.
So many kids want to be, like, become YouTubers now. That's like one of the number one jobs that kids say they want to do.
Which is like, I never want to shame people, but like, that's a problem
Yeah.
because we can't have a whole generation of people be
You're-
YouTubers.
Yeah.
We
At some
do
point, it'll
need
lose the meaning.
accountants,
Yes.
and pastors, and engineers, and academics.
Yes, exactly. All important.
So yeah, I think it's important that you protect your child and figure out for you like how to balance. How to
Yeah.
find balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because oversharing really is a problem with
It
some parents.
is. Like, you just don't need to put your child's business on social media. That's the thing. Like,
No.
you want to share, oh, look, my baby was wearing a really cute outfit, or my baby is 6 months old. Like, that's fine. But to share more about their own, like,
Yeah.
personal lives, it's just weird. Yeah, I'm sorry.
agree.
It is just a bit weird to me.
Yeah.
But
And in France
Yeah.
now, kids can sue their parents for
yeah.
things that have been posted on the internet. France is always like ahead of the curve, I noticed.
They are.
Like,
They're
in
very
terms of,
quick
like,
to enact laws.
climate
yeah.
change and like free birth control and stuff like that. So good on them. But yeah, so if you live in France, beware, your kids will turn against you. So
Yeah.
yes. But should we talk about influences with children?
Let's do it.
Fantastic.
Okay, so like,
I have a story to tell you.
okay,
And I didn't know about
I'm
this
so ready to
until
listen.
recently.
Okay.
So I won't name names. And I didn't even write this lady's name down. But
We'll never know.
She is an influencer. And she's not they don't have a family channel, but obviously kids are part of her life. So they know that she's a parent. And her viewership was a little bit low. And so she accused a couple, like a random couple, of attempting to kidnap her kids and use that as content to like make this whole thing of like, as a parent, what can you do to prevent your kids from being kidnapped?
Oh my gosh.
How scary.
No, people go insane. Oh my gosh.
And then they found out about it, and obviously like she I think she paid a fine. I didn't think she went to jail. But like that for me is bizarre. Like,
It's
you're not going
completely
to
bizarre.
you cannot use your kids or lie about circumstances in your kids' lives in order to gain views.
But
like, not
dude, okay, this is now just about like a YouTube family.
Yes.
But anyway, I think I don't know, it's the LeBrun family. I don't really care about saying the names because they're like huge anyways, and people know, like, this is
Yes.
not uncommon knowledge. But they
Yes.
have some of the worst clickbaits ever. Like,
Yes. It's
one,
like
like,
pictures of their kids crying and
yes.
like,
Well, like, literally one of their videos, I think was, I can't remember exactly what it was titled. By the way, I don't watch their videos. This is literally from, like, I watch commentary channels
yes.
because I don't really want to, like, support them.
Yeah.
But one of their videos was like, she was diagnosed with cancer, whatever. And so everyone
You
thought that one
joke.
of their daughters was diagnosed with cancer, but it wasn't. Like, he was like, they thought maybe she might have cancer, and then they used the video to talk about, like, to raise awareness about childhood cancer. And I'm like, okay,
No.
but that is so
No.
inappropriate. You don't joke about
Yeah.
cancer. That's one of the one of the things that you don't do.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you do that? It's bizarre.
Yeah, and I think what's scary to me is when parenting becomes about an income. Like that is bizarre. Like the fact that your brand is a mom and you can go on the internet and happily look for parenting advice. But the
Yeah.
issue is when it becomes about your specific kids. Like, this is what my child, Angela, who's 4 years old, who goes to the school, had a tantrum about. And this is the doctor we took her to. And we, like, and this is like, it's masked as a mom advice, dad
Yes.
advice,
Yeah.
parenting advice.
Yeah.
And so, with the word advice, or that being the quote unquote heart behind it, it masks the fact that kids are actually being exploited.
Exactly.
And they've made parenting a job that earns their money,
Yeah. So
which,
that,
I mean, that would be nice. I'd love
yes.
to,
I feel like people should get
to
paid
get
for
paid.
looking after kids. Well,
But
they do, but not if
unfortunately, when you
you're
have,
not if you're an actual parent. Then you don't get
yes,
paid.
if you're an au pair, you get paid.
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing about the internet, right? I mean, anyone can become famous very, very easily. So in the
Yeah.
past, like, for kids to become famous, they would have to go for auditions and get an agent and everything. But now
Yeah.
all a parent needs to do to help their kids rise to fame is just put a camera in front of their face and film their everyday life. And that's
Yeah.
literally all that needs to happen. And it's the same with anything, but like we said, content with kids just gets so many more views. And
Yeah.
people can make like millions and millions of dollars from their kids promoting content. Like, I think the
This
highest
is-
paid
and the
YouTuber
scary
in
thing-
2019 was an 8-year-old. That he was the highest paid YouTuber.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre. And like, the issue is because of the fact that videos with kids are the most viewed, advertisers naturally want to approach
Exactly.
channels that have many views. And so if advertisers are approaching you, you are earning so much money. And so it really does just, it's like a vicious cycle.
Yes.
And I think I would have thought a couple of years ago that this whole idea of like, specifically like family channels now, like, it's harmless. I think ignorantly I would have thought that, but there have been so many scandals. And yeah, I saw a video of a woman. Well, no, it was a news report reporting back on what this woman did. And they have a family channel, and she recorded, they were in the car, she was with her child, and she told her child that the dog was sick, or they had to put the dog down or something.
Yes.
And obviously this child is distraught.
Yes.
And you're seeing this. And then she says to the child, no, you need to cry more. And like,
Yes, I saw that. Oh my
hectically
gosh.
pushes the child and gets angry with the child because the child is not crying enough for the camera. And she didn't cut the video properly, so she posted this, then saw a comment and removed it. I think it was like not even 5 minutes later, but once something's on the internet, it's on the internet. And it's like, I just have to wonder how many kids are being told by their parents behind a camera, you have to act this way.
Exactly. And that's like one of the big issues with this whole thing now, because like a lot of people won't see like a child YouTuber or whatever as an actual job, and that's why a lot of like there are
Yeah.
actually no laws about them yet. There is, I mean,
Yes.
we'll talk about one that's actually
Yeah.
recently been introduced in the US,
Yes.
but there hasn't been anything protecting kids who are YouTubers or like as
No, because
part of a family channel. Like,
it's not a stranger, it's a parent.
exactly. But the
And
problem
parents
is,
have
yeah,
the
so carry
ultimate
on.
choice over the things their kids do.
Yeah, so it's sort of seen as the private space. Like the state can't intrude on that. But
Yes.
at the same time, like it is actually work if you consider that kids aren't just doing their normal things. In many cases, they're actually like doing
They are
multiple
constantly
takes. They're always
performing.
they're always being filmed. Like they are 100% aware of it. Like they are putting on a
Yeah.
performance 100%.
So it's like it's interesting because like if you had to ask anyone, is it okay for a child to like have a full-time job and be making a certain amount of money at age 8? You'd immediately say absolutely not. And this is actually the same
It
thing
is actually the same thing. And I think
because
once
family
we
channels are incredibly edited. Like
yeah.
there's a direct like target or purpose to a video.
Yeah,
And that
especially
doesn't
if there's a
just happen.
sponsor. Like they have
Yeah.
to say stuff about the sponsor, you know?
Yeah. And I just like I think the danger is like it kind of it's almost justifiable abuse, you know. Because I mean some people have said it's what pays the bills. But I mean like many things can pay the bills.
Yeah, get a real
okay?
job. No offense. Like, don't. Why are you relying on your
And
child?
Like people will say, oh no, but like the channel is good because it helps others or other people can relate. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, read a book.
Yeah, and I think the danger with exposing little kids in their entirety, in their personality, in the circumstances of their life, is you know that as an adult, reading a hateful comment affects you,
Yeah.
and you kind of have to train yourself not to take others' opinions too seriously. Now imagine that being put on a child. How on earth, going back and having to read
Yeah.
comments about yourself as a child, like,
And people are
yo.
mean. People are so mean about kids.
And it's like, I just can't fathom that people would want to make their children a brand rather than
Exactly.
a person.
And at the same time, like, there are so many other horrible things that can happen from people seeing your child. Like, I just think, for example, of people who share every part of their lives. So
Yeah.
they'll say, like, oh, we're going to the park, we're going to the mall. It's not that difficult to find out which park or which mall you're in.
So do you know that's actually called, there's a word for it, there's a term for it now, and it's called digital kidnapping.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about that as well, yeah.
Yes.
But,
Okay, go ahead.
But also, like, before digital kidnapping, like, if some crazy stalker person literally just was like, oh, I live in the same state as them, I can just go to the park and just wait to see them. And then the strange
Yeah.
person can come up to you and they can say your children's names. You don't even know this person and they know everything about your child. Like, that's very scary.
Yeah, and it's like if you know what school a child goes to, because parents have shared that,
Exactly.
you know how school schedule works. You also see that because this person has shared so much about the child, you know enough about the child, you know where the child's going to be, you know that the child has an Aunt Maggie. So like you can easily walk up to a child and say, hey, your mom sent me, I know I'm a friend of Aunt Maggie's, like, come with me, pick your kid up from school. It's like,
It's terrifying.
there's enough information for people to put the pieces
Exactly.
together.
Exactly.
And so, like, I've struggled with the thing because I follow an influencer, and I really love her. And influencing is her second job, I suppose. She's a professional dancer. And she shares a lot about her daughters, but they are never the subject.
Yeah.
It's just part of her life as an influencer. Like, her daughters aren't promoting brands. She doesn't have, like,
Yeah.
kids content. The only thing she's spoken about is like her breastfeeding journey, or like how she sleep trained her children, which isn't about them directly. But she has said, like, because people have come after her, and she said, like, guys, when I post my day, I'm posting hours after it's happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never ever going to post in real time and put my kids at risk. So, like, I suppose if you're going to do it, you have to be so smart about it because people
So
are scary.
smart. Absolutely. But like then, I think we also discussed this a bit over Instagram the other day because I think you sent me one of her videos about her child, her.
Yes.
Because yeah, the one of the scary things, and I think a lot of people don't realize, is that a lot of content that goes on dodgy sites about children is taken from normal Instagram and Facebook
Directly.
posts. Like,
Yeah.
and that's part of digital kidnapping. Is like they literally take a child's image, like just the way they look, maybe an innocent photo, an innocent video, and they put it onto
Yeah.
these sites. And I mean, if you think now about the rise of AI, for example, they can make it look like a person is doing anything. So imagine what they could be
Yep.
doing with a picture of a child, and they do it,
Yeah.
and it's
No,
very
and it's like
scary.
you think it doesn't happen, but like even when I was researching this topic, I was like disgusted and horrified. So yeah.
Yeah.
Before we continue though, Danielle, do you know what's cool about Apple Podcasts?
Please do tell
Apart
me.
from the fact that it's free.
Yeah.
You just need an iPhone and you can download podcasts on the App
That's
Store.
and that's so cheap. An iPhone is very cheap.
Well, what's cool about it is that you can actually review a podcast. You can write a
Yes.
review. And I know
That's
that
very
this seems to
nice.
be asking a lot, but your podcast is recommended more when people leave reviews. So if you literally are listening on Apple Podcasts, which a lot of our listeners do, can you just type good podcast, full stop?
Or excellent.
That
Nice.
excellent.
Very nice.
We will know that you listened to this far in the podcast if you do that. And yes, you can rate us and follow us and stuff. But yes, that's just a fun tidbit. Continue.
Yes. So yeah, I think, I mean, like what we're saying now, it's the reasons why a lot of people are actually calling for influencers or just people in general not to share children on the internet at all. But yeah, it is difficult, especially if I think the internet is your full-time job, if influencing is what you
Yeah.
do. I mean, you have to just be very, very aware of what you're posting, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all about like not oversharing. And I think what's difficult is like you can be so well intentioned, but unfortunately we live in a horrible, horrible world. You have no control over who sees what. Like I think as a parent, like who doesn't work on the internet, there are privacy settings. I mean those can be like people can hack and stuff, but for the most part you do have more control. Whereas if you're an influencer where you are in a job like this, anyone has access to that content, and that's what's really scary.
Yeah.
But do you want to chat a little bit about the legalities around this? Because I think what's so hard about this is there's so much content. It is free to share. So whereas like actual hired paid actresses or whatever, actors, singers that are models that are children, like that's at least a controllable environment, whereas the internet is so difficult to regulate. That's why like internet crime is so huge, and that's why there's so much pornographic material that is illegal out there, because the internet is impossible to regulate. So yeah, do you want to chat a little bit about recent developments though?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, like we've said, I mean, there hasn't been any laws pertaining to children on the internet, really. I mean, each site, I suppose, has their own sort of rules about what age you're allowed on the internet and everything. But now, just in terms of kids making money off the internet, there hasn't been anything about that, because it's, like I said, it hasn't really been seen as work. And also because it's within like the private sphere. But more recently, which is like literally just a few days ago, actually, Illinois, which is a state in America, they have just passed they've passed the bill, I think, or it was signed into law, and it will only go into effect next year on the 1st of July. And this law will basically ensure that child social media influencers are compensated for their work. And so basically it entitles all child influencers to a percentage of earnings based on how often they appear on video blogs or online content that generates at least 10 cents per view. And to qualify, the content must be created in Illinois, and kids would have to be featured in at least 30% of the content in a 30-day period. So it's a start, basically. And this is...
It is.
The problem is, like,
Tiny
even...
place in all.
Yes. It's a start.
Yeah.
But it doesn't protect kids still from being exploited by their parents in terms of time that they are filmed. And it doesn't protect them from other psychological problems, which I suppose will always be difficult to do. But we almost have to ask, like, is it worth it to have these young children on the internet with little to no regulations, you know, like, is it worth it?
I honestly, if I could, I would like ban specific like child influencers. So like family channels is one thing, but like kids who have like, I see stuff about kids who have like their own businesses at age 10.
Yeah, like, what are you selling?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me because I feel like as a child, you need the opportunity to be a child. You have the rest of your life to work and earn money. So,
yeah. And I think, I mean, that's like ultimately the thing is with the family channels, and I mean, even the child influencing, I mean, it's usually still the parents behind it, you know, it is ultimately parents benefiting from their children. Because actually, most family channels, without their kids, there would be nothing. Nobody wants to watch like those random people, you know, like that is not where their views come from. It's because they have cute children. And I think like what's scary is that the parents know this. So like they're going to make their kids do things that people want to watch. And I mean, like on a horrible and very extreme side, there was this lady, I can't remember, I don't know her name. I can't remember, but she's on TikTok, and she would like post videos of her daughter, and she's very, very cute. But every thumbnail that she would basically use would be extremely suggestive content of her daughter.
no.
So it's like opening her legs or
unacceptable.
exactly. So it's like you claim this is just like you're just sharing your cute child, or like it's just part of your job. But why would you share content like that that puts your kid in that sort of position? It's because you know that that's what gets the views. Like, and you know, it's not just like mothers or like children watching that content, you know? It's not just innocent people watching that. Very scary.
And like I see a lot of cute baby videos, which I think it's fine because a lot of the time a person posts a video of something silly their child has done and it randomly goes viral.
Yeah.
But their intent is never to make money and they don't move on from there. So like even, you know, that pair, the super bass pair, Olivia Gray, what's their name that they were on Ellen?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, did it have to be taken that far?
I know.
The video
It was so extra.
not go viral and everyone can be cute. Why? Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, the issue comes when money is involved.
Yeah, for me too. I mean, on my Instagram reels, for example, I just see not so much content, but I often see videos of kids popping up, like just doing their normal child things, like nothing weird about it at all. But I mean, this is also something you have to think about. Is how easy how quickly things can go viral. You know, like one minute you're sharing this to your friends, the next minute billions of people are watching it, and it's been taken onto some random Instagram page, and they don't tag you. So it's just the most insane thing, actually.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
it's a bizarre world.
Yeah, but I suppose just the whole ethical question is like, should parents be doing this? Should family channels even exist? And if so, like, should we be supporting them? Like, knowing what we know, I mean, there's so much research out there about the dangers. Like, why would we still support them? Like, why do they still have such a big following?
Yeah. It's rhetorical, right?
Yes. Zara, answer everything right now.
Fantastic. But I think on a more human level, like going back to the idea of sharing, like as a parent who isn't making money but is sharing. I think even there, something that I think you need to be careful of is this is like a Facebook mom thing where parents share all of their kids' achievements on their Facebook page, and it's like, are you trying to prove to everyone that your child is the greatest?
Literally.
Is it simply like like you're super proud of your child, or do you use your social media platform to show all of your friends what a great job you're doing?
Yeah.
And it's like my Instagram is like a personal, like my personal photo album, and like I have a private account. But even thinking like of pictures I've posted of my brother, now looking back, just being a bit more like being a bit older, like a part of me thinks like actually he's my brother, but I'm not his parent, and so it's actually not my decision to make.
Yeah.
And I think it is each parent's
Yeah.
decision.
And
so
everyone
I
has
think
to
it's
be
just
respectful of
important.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important that you're just informed. You know who is interacting with your content. You understand that your kid's privacy is more important than your
Views.
freedom of expression. Yeah. And yeah, ask yourself why. Why
Yeah.
am I posting this?
Yeah,
What,
exactly.
you know, and it's like, yeah, I would love for my family that lives far away to be updated on like how my kids are growing and things they're doing. But that's why private messaging exists as well. So yeah, I just think kids just they aren't old enough yet.
Yeah. At what
And
stage do you think a child, like just in your opinion now, even though you're not a parent, like at what age do you think a child can consent to being posted or whatever? Like at what stage do they understand, in your opinion?
I think that they can understand from a very young age, but in terms of consenting, I almost want to say, I mean, obviously 18 is the age of like adulthood, but I almost think like you can be 13 to get a Facebook page. So if you allow, like if a 13-year-old is allowed on Facebook, then the 13-year-old understands the
Yeah.
dynamics of social media to at least a small degree. So yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult question. I just think, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been on social media since I was 13.
I mean, when you're 13, I mean, you don't really know anything. But I think,
don't. I
like,
still don't, and I'm 24.
same. But I think what's also tough, like even with the whole family channel thing, just for example, like I've seen some of them say, no, like my child likes to be filmed, like they don't mind being posted. But in my head, I'm like, if you're 5 years old, you have like you can't comprehend that
No.
millions of people are
don't know
going
the
to be
difference
watching. Like they
between-
don't know.
A toy. A camera's a toy.
Yeah. It's like, this is just what mom and dad do. Like,
Yeah.
they don't know that like they're being watched by the whole world, which is pretty scary. I think I swear Black Mirror has probably done an episode about that, probably.
I've only ever seen one episode of that show.
Yeah, it's honestly, most episodes are very disturbing to me, so don't watch it.
I watched the one about online dating. It was very good.
Okay, I don't know if I've watched
Anyways.
it. Yeah, but
That's
anyway,
okay.
we could carry on talking for like years and years and years about this topic because
It is
it's
true.
huge. But maybe we can wrap things up, say our conclusions, etc.
Yes. This was very much an episode where we don't actually have like so this is what you should do. Here are the facts. It's more just this is a conversation, and it's just important to think about these things.
Yeah, that's the message. Just think about who you're watching and why, and who you're posting and why you're posting them.
Yeah. And also, like, find out from other parents if you're posting of their kids. Just, like, maybe ask them if they're okay with
Exactly,
that.
always. I actually, like, I try not ever to post of other people's children. It's just such a touchy subject, and you just never know what's going to happen. And like, just be aware that a lot of these people on YouTube, for example, who you think are like an innocent family, there's often a lot of very disturbing things happening behind the scenes. So yeah, just be aware of it. If things come out about a family or about a channel, like, you just need to decide, like, are these people who you want to support? Because each view is support.
Yeah, that's the thing with this. That is the thing. It's just a click.
Exactly.
And people are earning money.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's all up to you.
I think it is all up to you. ... Yeah, I have no idea what I'm gonna do when I'm a parent.
Yeah. Who even knows what kind of social media will be the thing whenever we have kids, though. That's pretty scary to think about.
Yeah, no. My brother once asked if he could come on the podcast. Did you know that?
Really cute.
Yes. So
what would we talk about?
I don't know. Maybe I'll let him get like 2 minutes in of what he wants.
Yes.
But if I gave him a whole episode and he looked back 10 years from now, he'd probably die.
Yeah.
So.
I actually wonder how many kids will be embarrassed in years of their parents posting full-on birth vlogs, actual of the whole process.
Dude.
Because
do you know that there's a family
crazy. Yeah, tell me.
who filmed their daughter shaving for the first time, shaving her legs for the first time.
Okay,
imagine,
no.
Imagine what that's going to feel like.
That's so embarrassing.
Dude. Anyways, we're going to go on a whole other...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if people want to overshare, people need to overshare, but kids don't have a choice.
Exactly.
So just think about the children.
Think about the children. 100%. That can be the the title of the podcast.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode.
Leave us a comment.
If you did, remember that sharing is caring.
So, in other words, share this with all of your friends.
Every person ever. Every child.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yeah. We are age restricted to what age restriction?
PG-13.
PG-13. For some episodes.
Yes.
Some episodes I would say it's a 13.
Yes. True.
Not because we say anything
True.
bad, just because maybe maybe kids don't understand.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. We will chat next time, y'all.
Yes.
Have a good time.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.